The debt market is probably cheap if you think crypto's going up. I think we've passed the first round of risks. We saw some people selling out of tokens, buying back their shares. I think in a full bear market, we might see more, but I also think we will see kind of corporate raiders buying the DATs, stripping the assets, if they're trading at a discount. I'm less worried than I was about the DATs overall. I think Michael Saylor's cleaned up his balance sheet as well by raising the fiat to take that risk off, using the new share structure that he's built. I think that helps.
Raoul Pal reveals why gold is screaming that Bitcoin is next, how the Everything Code Dominos are falling into place now, and why sovereign wealth funds are quietly adding Bitcoin to their reserves. Let us watch and decode what is happening.
Many of these will just wither on the vine. They just won't do anything. And they'll trade at discounts to NAV until the discount's big enough to break up the company. That's kind of how it feels like to me. And we've seen these with closed-end funds. Other ones, like Tom Lee is doing, and others, are actually trying to build value. He's got the VC part of his and public market investing part of his portfolio. That gives some convexity to the upside. So it's not just looking like an ETF that trades at a premium and you take some cash out and stick it into the underlying. I think we'll see more of that. I think we'll see more operating company DATs that are trying to be ecosystem building the ecosystem out. So whether it's Solana, whether it's Sui, whether it's Avalanche, whether any of these ones that've got DATs, we could probably see them having VC, providing liquidity for lending, doing all things to grow the ecosystem, and that will grow the NAV per share.
Bitcoin slipped back below $76,000 today as the sell-off continues, briefly touching $73,000 earlier this week. The Fear and Greed Index has crashed to 14, deep in extreme fear territory. But macro investor Raoul Pal says this is exactly what he expected from the market. According to his Everything Code thesis, gold leads Bitcoin by roughly 3 to 6 months, and gold is screaming that financial conditions are easing massively in the global economy now. Pal explains that financial conditions lead everything by 9 months. Gold perfectly reflects those conditions, along with dollar, yen, and silver. Bitcoin lives in global liquidity territory, which lags behind by about 3 months. So when gold rallies like this, pushing toward 5,000 per ounce with JPMorgan now targeting 6,300 by year-end, it is signaling that liquidity is coming. The dollar got absolutely murdered in recent days, and a weaker dollar is a big indicator that financial conditions are loosening very fast for us all. Pal reminds us that in 2020 during the pandemic, gold went first. He bought gold and then switched everything into Bitcoin because Bitcoin becomes the outperforming asset once liquidity kicks in. Gold can do a couple 100%, but crypto can do 5 to 10 times if lucky today. The setup is the same now. Gold is confirming that liquidity is picking up, Nasdaq is following liquidity perfectly, and Bitcoin is just waiting for the rotation. Patience, he says, is the name of the game for the smart investor.
So there's something called what we call the Everything Code Dominos. It's what drives what assets and when, and it's all phasing. So gold, financial conditions leads everything by about 9 months. Gold perfectly reflects financial conditions, as does dollar yen, as does silver. They're all in financial conditions land, so it's in the future. So they lead Bitcoin. And you can put the chart against it very nicely. And there's a very clear lead lag between gold and Bitcoin because Bitcoin lives in somewhere around liquidity, global liquidity. Global liquidity leads it a bit by 3 months. So what you've got is a phasing. So when we talk about a rotation, it happens naturally. Like we're now seeing as the business cycle picks up, what happens when the business cycle picks up? Commodities go up. What's happening right now? Commodities are signaling the business cycle is going to go up. That phasing is always prevalent in markets. It's always there. So when I see gold doing what it's doing, it's telling you financial conditions are easing massively. The biggest driver of financial conditions is the US dollar. The US dollar got absolutely murdered the last few days. We still expect it to go lower. That increases financial conditions. It tells us the length of the cycle because it lives 9 months further ahead than here. So it's like, well, the liquidity cycle can continue towards the end of next year now, September of next year. So everything seems to be playing out as it should be playing out. I don't know if you remember in 2020 over the pandemic, gold went first. I remember because I was buying gold and then ended up just switching everything into Bitcoin because Bitcoin becomes an outperforming asset because, gold can do a couple of 100%, crypto can do 5, 10x if you're lucky. So again, it's the patience thing. It's right. You've got the financial conditions that are showing us that liquidity is going to pick up. We've got gold confirming that. And now we're just waiting for crypto to do it. And we've seen NASDAQ following liquidity all the way perfectly. So I don't think there's anything wrong. I think we had a temporary aberration because of what happened in 1010 in crypto, and that will clear out the way and we'll have forgotten all about it in 6 months' time.
Central banks have been loading up on gold for 3 consecutive years, buying over 1,000 tons annually in total. Pal explains this is not random. Every time the dollar weakens at this point in the cycle, central banks diversify out of dollar assets and into gold. It is their job to protect sovereign wealth, and if the dollar falls, they increase their gold allocation. But here is the twist. Pal says sovereign wealth funds are now quietly adding Bitcoin. The Russia sanctions changed the game. After seeing dollar reserves frozen, nations want to be less dependent on the US financial system. Gold has always been the traditional hedge, but Bitcoin is emerging as the new alternative for the nations. Pal has spoken. With many sovereign wealth funds, and the marginal propensity is shifting toward assets that cannot be seized or frozen. Bitcoin fits that profile perfectly for the new world. While 87% of world trade is in dollars, and the dollar is not going away, the trend toward diversification is accelerating on the DATS market, which includes companies like Strategy holding Bitcoin treasuries. Pal sees opportunity for all. He believes Michael Saylor has cleaned up his balance sheet by raising fiat and using a new share structure now to reduce risk. While many smaller DATs will wither and trade at discounts until corporate raiders break them up, others, like what Tom Lee is building, are trying to create real value through venture capital and ecosystem development in crypto. Pal expects more operating company debts to emerge as builders across Solana, Sui, Avalanche, and others in the near future. Meanwhile, GameStop moved its entire 4,700 Bitcoin treasury to an exchange this week, sparking speculation of liquidation. The move highlights how sensitive sentiment remains around corporate Bitcoin. Michael Burry warned that Bitcoin's ongoing decline could destroy value for companies with large reserves. But if Pal thesis works and liquidity floods the system, these companies see massive upside. The question is, who has patience for the rotation now?
I think gold can still go further. I don't think it's clearly overdone, but I think it can go further. Can it correct, go sideways for a month or two, ease off a bit of the overbought because the RSI is like 97 or something stupid. But I still think it goes further because I think the dollar goes lower. And I think financial conditions have to be very easy to deal with the debt rollover and the interest payments on the debt. And gold follows that chart perfectly as well. Again, there's a whole kind of flow of how this all fits. So yes, I think it goes further. Silver, don't know, possibly, but we're obviously wildly overbought now. Generally speaking, it should go on a little bit longer. Whether it's another 2 or 3 months, don't know. So I'm not really one calling a gold top. Would I buy it here? No. The risk reward is not good enough to buy. So at a top level, yes, central banks want to be less reliant on dollar assets, but not massively so because they all need dollars. 87% of the world trade is in dollars. Over 50% of world debt is in dollars. So the dollar ain't going away. There's nothing they can do about it. They can't do it. If the Saudis want to hold less dollars, it's difficult because they get paid in oil in dollars, and they're huge investors. So what happens every time is when you're at this point in the cycle is the dollar weakens. It's driven by the business cycle. So the dollar weakens. So you are sovereign wealth fund in Abu Dhabi. What do you do at this point in the cycle? You diversify out of dollars. Well, Abu Dhabi's less good an example, but no, I guess it works still because you find that other assets, emerging markets do well, stuff like that. If you've got a more variable currency, you tend to buy something like gold because that gives you the basis of to avoid the weak currency and offset your strong currency. Because if your emerging market currency goes up, you export less, all of that. So it's a natural function, it happens every time. And every time says, oh my God, the central banks are all buying. Yes, because that's their job. Their job is to protect their sovereign wealth. And if the dollar's falling and many of their assets in dollars, they will always make sure that they increase their allocation to gold at this time. They don't tend to reduce it much. And the reason being is over time, the wealth of nations grows. So they don't need to reduce it. It just becomes an asset. But yes, the Russia thing changed it for people. And yes, the marginal propensity is to not be beholden to the US the best you can. And that's where, speaking to many sovereign wealth funds, that's where Bitcoin's coming in as well.
That is all for today's video. Until next time, everyone.